Are you aspiring podcaster and you struggle with being different or unique or special? If you answer yes to that question in this video, we're going to talk about on how your podcast can be special. So make sure you got a pen, make sure you got a notebook, because today we're talking about how to make your podcast special and different from other podcasters that are podcasting. So welcome to the Phase Knowledge Podcast. My name is Terryl Humphrey, and over the last half a decade, we produced over 893 podcast episodes while helping 30 entrepreneurs launch their podcast with confidence. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is that your podcast can be special. Your podcast can be different. Your podcast can be unique. And that's what we're going to talk about today, on how to work towards that. And if you stay towards the end, you will actually learn 3 strategies on the strategy that you can start implementing today. So point number one, I know. Look at other podcasts. And when I say look at it, I'm saying study it. I'm saying learn it. I'm saying observe it. Why? Many times the answers are right in front of you, but you have to go and pay attention to what you're seeing. As I started to watch a lot of podcast episodes, everything is the same. You got the cameras, you got the microphone, you're having a conversation. That's the same. It doesn't matter what you're speaking about. It matters that, anybody can pick up a camera, phone, microphone, and then record themselves. In addition to that, how to be special is that you have to look at what everyone else is doing. I look at Club Shay Shay. I look at Breakfast Club. I look at Earn Your Leisure. I look at the Call Her Daddy clips sometimes. I'm looking at the biggest because I'm like, okay, how can I be different? I want to be different in a way where I'm actually like special. I'm unique. I'm specializing in a particular area. Not only the name of podcasting, but just really understanding, like, hold on, there's something here. Hold on. There's something here. What's here is this. The structure is the same. Okay, you got structure. And you got people talking. These are cameras. These are people. Okay. With that, the structure is the same. You have to talk to have a conversation. And it doesn't matter what you're speaking about. What matters is that it's interesting. It captures the attention. It's informative. It's educational. It's entertaining. It's exciting. It's funny. Whatever the case is, your podcast has to be special to you, because this is something that you're going to be working on a consistent basis. With that being said, the basis that is working on is literally helping you understand how to be different. In business, we call that our competitive advantage. Competitive advantage. How can you be different? How can you be better? How can you do your podcast or your business different than other people? Why? Because your competitive advantage has to be created from you. When you establish your competitive advantage, you gotta like really nail it in, because when you focus on that competitive advantage, it only comes from you learning from other people. It only comes from you learning from others. It only comes from you observing what's working for other people. Now, I'm not saying go and copy them. No. What I'm saying is go and see what's making them different, and then learn how you can be different from them. You see, knowledge. Hold on. What's that saying? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Then as I got into business and I start gaining the knowledge, I start gaining the education, I start gaining the experience, I'm like, okay, that saying is not valid anymore, because yes, I have the knowledge, but now I have a different perspective. The perspective that I have today is this. Yes, knowledge is power. However, applied knowledge is power. Applied knowledge is power. Why? To be special, you have to apply the knowledge that you have. As you are watching your competitors, as you're listening to your competitors, what they are speaking about, how they are presenting, what they are talking about, it doesn't matter what you talk about. It matters that you talk about something different. It matters that you talk about something different, because if everybody's talking about the same exact thing, how can you be special? How can you be unique? How can you be different? See, your competitive advantage is saying, I see this area. I see everybody's talking about the same exact thing. Business, success, knowledge, your experience, all these different things. But then I start to recognize, I'm like, wait, hold on. The podcast that I'm listening to, they only focus on today, which is good, which is phenomenal. But before today, before you got to this point, what was your biggest failure? Like, I want you to express that. See, some podcasts does that. I mean, it does, like, they are vulnerable on the platform, but specifically, people don't use the word failure. And I looked up the word failure, and the definition of failure was the lack of success. Then I look up the word success. Success definition is to accomplish a goal. So just because you have a lack of success in a particular area doesn't mean you're not achieving goals. Doesn't mean you're not accomplishing goals. What it means is that you have failure in a particular area. You're not a failure. That thing that you tried was a failure. That thing that you attempted was a failure. That business that you tried was a failure. That change was a failure. It doesn't matter how you fail. It matters that you have tried. It matters that you have tried. In order to be different, in order to be unique, in order to be special, you got to be okay with failing, with failing. Because when you fail, you start to learn. See, applied knowledge is trying, then trying, then trying again. Applied is not giving up. Applying the knowledge is saying, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to try to understand this. When I start to understand the business that I was in, which is the podcast production space, I'm like, okay, what does that even mean? Because that's too broad, okay? I'm like, okay, how can I be different? People say that they do podcast production. There's podcast production studios all around me, and I'm looking, I'm studying, I'm going on the research, I'm going on the website, I'm going in, and I'm just seeing. I'm like, what's making them different? Okay. How can I be different from them? And how can I make it challenging for people to copy me? And I'm like, oh, okay. If I focus on this format, if I be consistent, if we help other aspiring podcasters the way we help ourselves, we can literally be different. Because a lot of studios don't practice what they sell. So that alone, hold on, I'm supposed to be sell. Don't practice what they sell. I'm in class for, I'm getting my bachelor's degree in business management at College University. And as I'm getting my degree, I'm in this communication class, and that was like, are you a product of your product? Do you buy the product? Do you use the product? Do you experience the product? If you're not buying your product, how can you talk about your product? You see, what we do for our clients, we do for ourselves. We are building trust. How are we building trust? We building trust through consistency, through a format, and through a specific way to present the content. It's not just about producing the content. It's about producing the content that will make you different, because now you're marketing your business effectively. And when people start to come into your world, they start to say, I've learned more about what you're doing based off your social media posts, based off your emails, based off your podcast, based off all these different ways that you're communicating. You're staying top of mind. So what makes us different is that we are literally our product. Like, we are our own case study. We are helping our clients, our customers, the same way we helped ourselves. We practice what we preach, and we improve what's not working and what's not working. So the strategies that you're receiving are the skills that we have implemented. It's already working. You don't have to go out and figure it out. So what makes us different is that after producing 893 podcast episodes and helping 30 entrepreneurs launch their podcast with confidence, we are not guessing. We are not practicing. We are not perfect, but we're going to always continue to innovate, improve and grow. You see, do they practice what they sell? What's going on, darling? Do they practice what they sell? In order for your podcast to be different, you have to be your own customer. You got to be your own customer, because now you start to experience your own customer journey. You see, it's a path that you got to go through, and it's called the customer journey. One thing that we've been working on, that we've been establishing, is learning where our customers are at. This is called attention. This is called questions. This is called proof. This is called outcome. You see, that outcome is what creates through the customer journey. This right here is called the customer journey. Customer's journey. And in fact, it actually makes sense now. It makes sense now because I'm applying the knowledge. You see, it's not going to be a straight path. It's going to be bumps. It's going to be bruises. It's going to be curves, turns, up hills, and declines. You see, it doesn't matter the route that you own. You understand the path that your customer is on, and then meet them where they are at. To make your podcast special, you got to meet your customers where they're at, because now you become a product of your own service. You become a product of your own business. You become a product of everything that you are doing for others. Okay. Why is that important? And this is actually pretty good. Now it makes sense. This is actually pretty good. See, attention is saying, hey, we help established business owners launch their podcast in less than 90 minutes. The attention is saying 90 minutes, in less than 90 minutes. It's the proof of concept. Like, really? Like, what do you mean less than 90 minutes? In 90 minutes, you will have 3 episodes ready to publish for a month's worth of content. You see, it's not a guessing anymore. All you have to do is sit down for 90 minutes a month. There's 30 days in a month. If you sit down for 90 minutes, we can help you have a 30 days worth of content. To the point where you don't have to keep recording, keep uploading, keep doing all these different things. You see, launching your podcast is not just person recording. Launching your podcast is establishing a strategy to follow so people can start to learn more about you. So you can start to build the trust. So you can start to enhance everything that you're doing. You see, that attention is what captures people. And when they have questions, now the journey starts. Because next point is that they have questions. So what does that actually look like? How long does it take? I did a presentation yesterday, and shout out to 1 Million Cups. And when I did the presentation, I was very confident. Because I knew what I was speaking about. I knew what I was talking about. I knew what I wanted to present. I just knew it, okay? And when I got on stage, first 5 seconds, I stumbled upon my words. I was like, can I start over? So I started over, and then throughout the whole presentation, I was talking about podcasts, I'm talking about the impact. I'm talking about we bring the production to you. So the only thing you will have to do is just sit down for 90 minutes that we record 3 episodes for you right on the spot. You see, it's not just about creating the content. It's not just about creating the podcast. It's about making you different. It's about making you special. It's about making you unique. And so when I was doing the presentation, I felt good. Towards the end of it, they have Q&A. So people start to ask us questions in regards of the business. What does that consist of? How long does it take? And what's the return on investment? You see, it's more than just money. It's trust, because now when people start to see you often, they start to learn from you, they start to hear from you, they start to connect with you. That trust makes a valuable customer. That customer is what becomes valuable. And when they become valuable, you start to understand that you can grow your business. You see, it's not just about producing your podcast anymore. It's about launching your podcast with a proven strategy, with a proven company that can literally take you from point A, from no people having trust with you, to point B, to people trusting what you are speaking about. See, trust comes with content. If you look at Disney, they started with content. If memory serves me correctly, they started in content. Like they started recording videos, they started sharing short films, they started producing movies. And then now they have this big old theme park. Let's say theme park. But people fly all over the world to go to Disney. Why? Because that content has been building over time. Okay. That trust has been building over time. Okay. That trust has been established. So now when people go to Disney, they're making their dreams come true because the content was already established. What does that have to do with podcast? When your podcast is already established and you're producing content and you're consistent, you're building trust for your business, because now when people come to you, they start to say, I trust you. I want to do business with you. I want to learn from you. I want to support your business. Why? Because their trust has been established. That trust equals customers. When you got trust, people are willing to pay you money. They're willing to pay you money. So next point we're going to talk about is this. Is to identify your ROI. In other words, your return on investment. Your return on investment. Okay. Your return on investment, let me just put the dollar signs down here. Okay. So point number one that we talked about was this, is that you have to look at other podcasts, look at your other competitors, look at other studios and see what they're doing and how can you be different. This point that we're going to talk about right now is to identify your return on investment. Many times, the return on investment is not always money. It's not always money. It could be impact. It can be proof of concept. It could be testimonials. It can be a proven method. It could be restructured. It could be a system. Your return on investment is not just money. Return on investment is not just money. What does that mean, Terrell? Well, I go even deeper with you, okay? This past weekend, my wife and I actually did an event, and when we did the event, we was vendor there, and although we made $386.40, that money that we made wasn't the only return on investment. Okay, let me elaborate. We got content. Hold on. One, we got content. We got testimonials. ALS. We help 5 entrepreneurs. Launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes. So we got content, we got testimonials, we got 5 entrepreneurs that start podcasts with confidence. Number 4, we got behind the scenes. Number 5, we got recorded panels, speaking, and questions. Okay, then we got feedback. I guess feedback is testimonials. Let's just. I can only think of 5 right now. Okay. And the obvious. We made some money. We made some money from it. Okay. What does that mean? Okay. The return on investment, if we were thinking small, we were playing small, the return on investment could have only been the $386.40. Okay. But then we start to look at it differently. As we started to look at it differently, this event was more than just an event. Why? Because we got content. We can literally use this content as proof of concept of how we help other established business owners who hosting conferences, events, masterminds, all these different things, collect testimonials. Now we are focused on testimonials. We're specializing in testimonials. So whenever we go do an event, we're specializing in testimonials. Okay. That's proof of concept. That content can be reused for a long time. Why? Because we have the content. The content is what makes the difference because it's recorded, it's edited, it's uploaded, all these different things. We have the content. Okay, in business terms, let's use the terminology business, right? Number 1, content equals marketing. We have more marketing opportunities because we have the content. Okay. Stay with me. Testimonials are saying my biggest experience was X, Y, and Z. I enjoyed this event. It's showing, in business terms, social proof. Shout out to the Social Proof Podcast. Actually learned how to podcast from them. Okay. When you have social proof, you have people saying that I enjoyed this event because of X, Y, Z. This can be used to get more customers. Okay. Let's dive a little bit deeper. 5 entrepreneurs. 5 paying entrepreneurs. This is proof of concept. Okay. What does that mean? Proof of concept saying we're not guessing on how to help you launch your podcast in less than 5 minutes. Proof of concept is saying that we have a system that you can follow and now you'll be able to produce your podcast in less than 5 minutes. Okay. Number 4, behind the scenes. It's just behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. That can't be broken down further. In other words, what's being recorded, what's being uploaded is different than from the behind the scenes of what's happening to help make everything come together. Okay. Number 5, record panels, speaking. So that is a form of that's more content, that's more marketing. And number 6, money. ROI. Return on investment. You see, we just got 6 different things from one event. You see, it's not just always about the money. It's about how can you use this opportunity today for future opportunities, for future moments, for future conversations, for future events, for future customers. Shout out to this book. There's a customer born every minute. Your previous customers help you get new customers. Your previous content helps you get new content. You see, it's like a cycle. That happens, then this happens, then that happened, then this happens. It's a cycle. Because now What can be you what we got last Friday, we can use for next Friday. We can use for next month. We can use for the month after that. Why? Because that content is what creates more customers. That content is what makes a difference. Because now we're not guessing no more. We are a system. So when we help entrepreneurs, established entrepreneurs, launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes or less than 90 minutes, it's a proven method. We're not guessing. It's proven. Last point I want to hit on is this. First 2 points that we talked about was to look at other podcasts. Point number 2 was to identify your return on investment. Point number three was to look at the what is the end called? Look at the results. Look at the results. Okay. Results are important because results make a difference. Okay. Earlier I mentioned how we made $386.40. Okay. While helping 5 entrepreneurs launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes. With that, the results are saying that we have something. Now we have, I didn't calculate the content, hours of content time, but we have hours. We have hours of content, which means marketing. We have hours on hours on hours, footage on top of footage. It positions us differently. So now that we start to do that effectively, it's like, oh, okay. The results are saying this is working. Results equals working. Results mean it's working. What's working? The business model. What's working? The business structure. What's working? The way we communicate with our customers. What's working? The sales process. What's working? The offer. What's working? People buying. Like, it's a system that has to be reinvented, but the whole process has to be studied. The results are telling you what's working, what's not working. What's working and what's not working. And with that, you start to see something differently. What you're saying is that if it's not working, don't do it again. But if it is working, do more of it. See, doing more is saying that I have a proven method. So when we help established entrepreneurs or multifamily investors and or established business owners launch their podcast in less than 5 minutes or less than 90 minutes, we're not guessing how to help you launch a podcast. It's a proven system that we're going to give you, that we're going to coach you through. But now, instead of just coaching you, we're implementing it. We're doing it with you. We are literally, like, all you have to do is sit down, we bring the production to you, and for 90 minutes, we record 3 episodes for you. But now the 3 episodes can get broken down even further. So what's working has to be identified. What's not working has to be replaced. Because if you're not identifying what's working and the cause behind it, your podcast won't be special because it will be the same and you're not making changes or updates to it. We are literally making changes every single day. It gets to a point where the changes that we're making is kind of overwhelming. However, the changes that we are conducting are helping us be more consistent, helping us be more organized, helping us become more structured. When you make your podcast special, you start to understand what's working, what's not working, and why it's working. Then you start to understand that you're doing something right. It took us a long time to get in this position where we're finally seeing the results. But as we start to see the results, it's like, okay, there's no need to slow down. Shout out to my buddy Bill. He says, I'm going to spell this wrong because I don't know how to spell it. Momentum builds momentum. It builds momentum. I don't know if I spelled that right. Anywho, it builds momentum. It builds your success. It builds the consistency. Yesterday, I went to 3 events yesterday, and I was exhausted. I had a presentation, then I had a workshop, then we went to the event. I was exhausted. Nonetheless, I was building that momentum. I was building on top of the success, on top of the skills, on top of the work that already been accomplished. I'm like, let me keep going. As I continue to keep going, I start to see more results. Results equals outcomes. So when you have results, and for a long time I failed so many different times and it took so long to get to where I'm at today, but now I'm glad that I had that many failures because failure is knowledge. And I solely believe that because every day I get up and I figure it out and I figure it out and figure it out. Get a little bit better, but I figure it out. Why? Because I want to build that momentum up. So just to recap everything that we talk about today with point number 1 is that you have to look at other podcasts, look at your competition, study your competition, and learn what's working and what's not working, and learn how to stand out to make your podcast special. Point number 2 was to identify your return on investment. Money is not the only return on investment. You can have multiple different ways to get your money back, get your time back, but you have to identify how to position what you would like your return on investment to become. And last one that we talked about is that you have to look at the results. The results are going to tell you, or the data is going to tell you what's working and what's not working and why it's working. If it's working, do more. If it's not working, do less. But if it's working, double down on it, like quadruple down on it, because you can have more results based off you being committed to what's already working. So as promised, you now have 3 skills to start implementing today, because the applied knowledge is better than the knowledge that you have, because yes, knowledge is power. Applying what you just learned is even more important. So go out and apply it, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Make sure you hit that follow and subscribe. Lastly, don't be afraid to fail, because failure is knowledge.